Hello, beautiful people. Whew. This topic, you guys, this topic, oh my goodness, I would never think that I would be speaking on topics to do with race, but I just feel like someone has to do it. Someone has to educate younger people. Someone has to do it for them. But anywho, so today's topic, we are talking about being Black in Australia. So I will be sharing with you guys a bit of background on Australia, and then I will obviously talk about my experiences, other people's experiences, and some of the things that you guys actually witness in the media. I decided to speak on this topic because I feel like it does affect our mental health. It does have detrimental effect to our mental health. And I like to see myself as a healthcare advocate. I like to promote health. I like to promote good quality lifestyle, and I feel like when we address topics like race, then we are aware of it and we know how to manage it. So first thing first, we know that Australia prides itself for being a multicultural country, which means they accept all race, religion, cultures, and they're just welcoming. But then, are they racist? Racism does exist in Australia. It's very subtle, guys. It is not as obvious, but then it is also very obvious if you know exactly what racism is. I wrote notes down so that obviously we stay on track. It says here, racism is a prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that your own race is obviously better or superior than their race. So that's what racism is. And of course, a race is any group of people who share the same beliefs, the same culture, the same traits. So it's just a group of people that are just different from your own. So racism happens when someone thinks that your race is not important than mine, or your race is inferior to mine. They might think that you guys are not educated or, smart enough or something like that. But it's not necessarily true. It's just a belief because it's what they have either seen or been taught, but there's no evidence. And as a result of that, they will come and discriminate you, and they will act in a friendly way. They treat you just bad because they just think that you're not better than them. So then racism, it does exist in Australia, but it's not as obvious. So I'll tell you a bit about Australia and its history. So the Aboriginal and the Torres Strait Island were the first landowners or the first people to live in Australia. Now, if you don't know the Aboriginal people are Black in complexion. They are darker skinned, they're just like us. They were the first people of Australia. And how the Europeans came in is that, Britain and some other European countries were getting rid of their convicts, you guys. So that means that they were getting rid of all the criminals in Europe, in Great Britain and other parts of Europe, and they were shipping them to Australia to get rid of them. And these are the people who invaded Australia. And obviously they noticed the Aboriginal people and how they were living, and how, they had their own culture and way of living. So the white people, they saw these Aboriginal people and they didn't like their culture, they didn't like the way they were living, and they literally went and took kids from these Aboriginal people, Aboriginal families. They were taken, they were literally stolen in order for them to obviously be educated, to learn about the European way of living, and so that they can obviously forget and not remember their Aboriginal culture. This is why you hear about the stolen generation. I think this caused a lot of mental health issues. So this is why most Aboriginal became substance users. So they started taking drugs, drinking alcohol, eating unhealthily, and that's why they have all these chronic illnesses, you guys. Their quality of life is bad. So this just shows you how the European people didn't like the way the Aboriginal people were living. So they just thought that it wasn't any good, and they just felt like they were better, and that's actually racism. Today, obviously, Australia said, you know what, we respect the Aboriginal people, we accept that they're the landowners of this country, so let's give them privileges. Some Aboriginal people are struggling to really, tell the government or other people of Australia, especially the European people, that they're Aboriginal, because today they're now literally fair-skinned, they have blonde hair, blue eyes, really fair skin. Some people would actually get denied the benefit because apparently they don't look Aboriginal enough. This just shows how ignorant some people are. It makes sense that they could be a quarter Aboriginal or 1/3 Aboriginal, but they're still Aboriginal and they still identify themselves as Aboriginal. But most people are like, no, you don't look Aboriginal enough. That's literally trying to take away someone's culture, someone's belief, someone's history, because you just want them to be associated with the European culture. That's just bad, you know, it's just racism, really. Personally, I haven't really experienced much racism. I can't remember anything that happened at the age, before the age of 16, I could say. However, I do remember myself going to school and, to high school just being me. Like, I've always thought of myself as unique anyway. Like, I've always thought of myself as different from anyone else. And I'm not just saying different from my predominantly white schoolmates, but I've always thought of myself as different from even African people, because I am African, but I just thought that I have different characteristics. You know, I have my own characteristics. It might be similar to your brother, but then you're obviously different somehow, okay? So I've always thought of myself as a unique individual with my own beliefs and my own views and my own way of living. And so if anyone tried to go against my ideas or the way that I thought, I just, didn't reply. I just thought, oh, well, that's your way of thinking and that's how you feel. So I can't change that. So I just be me, So I never really let anything affect me too much. Back in high school, I would go to school with my afro. I didn't care. Like, I just thought, that's who I am, However, as I grew older though, guys, I started noticing it a little bit more. Again, it's not so obvious in your face unless if you look for it. Just ignorant comments, to be honest. They're just really ignorant comments. They'll be like, oh, where are you from? And before I could even answer where I'm from or where I came from originally, they're already saying, oh, it must have been pretty bad. It must be nice to be in Australia. Like, I haven't told you where I'm from. I could be from anywhere. I could be from Australia, just like how you are from Australia and how you also came from Britain back in the days. I'd just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess so. And then another thing that I would get usually from guys is like, you're too pretty for a black girl. That is not a compliment whatsoever. When guys just want something from you, or they just want to act like they're nice to you. Let's decipher this. Okay, what is this really saying? It's saying black girls are ugly. Now, that's a preconceived notion, okay? Remember the definition. That's a preconceived idea that black people must be ugly, so then you are the odd one out. You are the only pretty one out of all this bunch of ugly people. That's a racist person right there, and you need to say bye to that person and don't even bother talking to them, because they're just so ignorant and they don't know what they're talking about. Quite frankly, every person is beautiful. Every person is uniquely made and every person is beautiful, and it's an offense to your whole ancestor and your whole history, So yeah, guys, it's just, small things like this actually do happen, and they are racist once you know what racism is. Initially, it didn't bother me because I probably didn't know what racism was and I didn't even know how to identify it. But once you know what racism is, then you realize that it's everywhere, guys. This type of racism is obviously minor compared to other people who experience racism pretty bad, especially the South Sudanese community in Australia. I feel like they probably experience it more and worse than I have, and it's not even funny, you guys. I'll put the link down to one of the YouTube channel, but some of my Sudanese friends will tell me about their experiences. The sitting in the train one is very common. So they'll talk about how they'll go in the train and then they will just, pick a seat and then sit next to someone, and that person will literally stand up and move away from them. Or a Sudanese person, and even Aboriginal people, they would go to a supermarket and security guard just start following them around. And this is why I'm saying that it is a preconceived idea. It's something that we're told that being black equals criminal, equals this, equals stealing, equals, even though you've literally never stolen in your whole life, you've worked for your money. The media would always, I remember when they were onto the South Sudanese community, okay, so if they stole something from the store, for example, a South Sudanese guy has trashed this store or whatever, you know. And this Sudanese boy didn't even trash the store. He literally just went and picked something from the shelf and ran off. However, if it was a white person who did that, they'd be like, oh, a young teenager was seen on camera taking something from the shelf. It's literally the same incident, but just how it's being published. And some of these comments, you guys, are so nasty when you read them on media. As much as I would like to talk about racism, especially for Black people, you know, the Asian community, for example, they experience racism just as bad. Especially, for example, look what's happening now with the coronaviruses. I cannot imagine what Chinese people are probably going through. And from what I've read online, guys, from the comments and whatnot, and from some of the videos that I'm seeing online, you don't even have to be Chinese, guys. You could just be Asian looking and someone is like, oh, you from China? You know, like, what's up with the coronavirus? God forbid white people also experience racism in Africa or in other countries they go to. It just needs to stop, you guys. It's just terrible. It's very bad for our health, and it can certainly cause mental health to individuals, especially young people growing up. If they experience racism when they're growing up, they're not going to be mentally stable when they become full adults, because they've just been so crushed and so diminished when they were younger, that to the point where when they're older, they just don't know who they are. They just feel inferior, and that's why they will never do great things. We are all unique, okay? We are all unique in our own ways, okay? We just have to embrace who we really are and how we look, and we just have to believe that we are as important as anybody else, okay? No one is as important as you are. You are worth it. You are relevant. You are a gift. You're God's gift to this planet, to this earth. And you just need to embrace that. You just need to take that in and just know that you can do marvelous things. You can achieve big goals. You can become whoever you want to become. Do not let anyone stop you. Anyone that is being racist to you is just being ignorant. They don't know that human behavior is different. It doesn't matter the race, okay? Human behavior is based on the experience, and you just need to make the experience that you're growing up in as beautiful and as flourishing as it can possibly be. All right, guys, enough of me talking again. Whew. I just had to share that with you guys, and I just hope that you learned something from this video, guys. Just take care of yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, and try not to be racist to other races as well, okay? Before I let you guys go completely, you guys know that I have a hair bonnet, which is a sleeping cap for your hair, that is on Amazon and eBay. It is for any type of hair, for anyone. It is just a sleeping cap that helps to protect your hair when you're sleeping. So if you guys are interested, or if you know someone who might be interested, please share the links down below. I guess you can share the links down below, or you can just purchase it for someone you love as a gift, and by obviously purchasing, you'll be supporting me in this channel. And that's all, guys. That is it, you guys, and I just hope you stay well, you stay healthy, and just stop being racist.